Hey there, Halt Catch fans. Welcome back to the Halt Catch Fire AfterBuzz After Show. We're here breaking down Season 3, Episode 3's Flipping the Switch. Stay tuned to your ham radios. We'll be with you in a second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
There it is. There it is again. I feel like you would have been great in some sort of 80s new wave band with your jean jacket today. I don't know.
Thank you. I try to lend to the 80s feel whenever I do the show, and I had the big hair, I have the jean jacket. I'm trying to make you guys feel at home.
You are succeeding. My name is Isaac Johnson. You can follow me on Twitter at Isaac Johnson or Instagram Isaac Johnson. See my photos. I'm joined once again by Amber Plaster.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. You guys can tweet at me during the show or afterwards. I'm at Amber Plaster.
Yeah, let's jump right on. I'm so sad when that music ends. I'm like, is it over already? I feel like I just wanted to play underneath this for the entire episode. Let's see if
love it.
we can make that happen. How'd you feel about this episode, Flipping the Switch? I just asked you a question. I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah. So we're in Season 3 now.
Season 3.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
Flipping the switch.
Yeah.
I feel like it's flipping the switch means flipping the switch on, right? Because we're in startup land. I think it's the beginning of something. I don't feel like it's an ending.
No.
So I was trying to figure out the title of that before.
Like what sort of like subtext it could mean by flipping the switch on in Joe's heart somewhere, perhaps.
I don't think Joe has a heart, but
I think he does. We'll get into it. I really liked the episode. We'll get into it later, but I loved seeing Cameron and Joe back on screen there. That was wonderful.
Always love the will they won't they of Cameron.
Yeah, will they
Joe.
won't they? It's lovely. Just the whole thing. It was really, really fun episode. So let's get into it.
Yeah, we're pretty much in episode 3. We're in startup life, right? So we see them throughout the episode. You know, even at Mutiny, they're arguing and they're kind of not getting along, but things are happening for them.
Are happening, yes.
You know, Donna and Cameron are about to acquire their first company with this new character, Diane Gold, who terrifies me and excites me at the same time.
She's very exciting. Yeah.
Every time she comes on screen, I'm like,
yeah.
oh gosh, we're gonna mess up. Like, she just makes me feel like I'm never good enough. Like, whenever I see her character.
I think that's her goal. I'm not quite certain. I think that's her goal. So Gordon with this radio, this is like the saddest thing to me. Him with his ham radio in his closet by himself.
So we open up with Gordon in the closet with his ham radio, and my first thought was, what's up with the radio? And you know, you feel like it's going to be an ongoing theme throughout the episode, but I feel like it just kind of fizzled out. Like, I feel like we never got an answer. Like, what do you think the radio was there for?
Well, I mean, he just looks. I mean, he's frustrated with his role in the company. He's frustrated with not having enough input, I think. But also, he's just, you know, he's lonely. It seems like he doesn't really have anybody. He's completely changed their whole lives, moving out to California, putting all his money into the company, fixing the mainframe, all of these things. But then he's still kind of lonely. He's also still dealing with this, you know, brain stuff. And I don't know. It's just such a, like, I mean, I thought Scoot McNairy was really great in this episode, but I just thought that, man, he's just so lonely in his closet, and he was supposed to have his radio in another room, except for Cameron's in that room. It was just such a, like, sad thing. He's, like, obviously searching for something. I think we know what that something is.
That's a really good point, though, when you said that his radio room or his man cave is actually where Cameron's, you know, occupying the space.
Yeah.
And so it's just another metaphor for her taking over his role, you know, in the company, in his wife's business life, in her daily life, and now in their home.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see that, but my other thought when I saw it was, of course he has a transistor radio. Like, he's so specifically the kind of nerd who would build a treehouse and then like have a ham radio and like be up all night. And I love that they actually show the passage of time where the daughter comes in and is like, "Are you gonna put me to bed?"
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, and then he's explaining to her, like, what does CQ mean? And he explains that whole thing to her. It's like,
that was cute.
It was cute, but also, like, she doesn't care, Gordon. She just wants Daddy to put her to bed.
She doesn't care, but it's also nice that he does try to explain things to his daughters.
That's true.
And at the same time, she's just kind of like,
Yeah, I just thought it was like way overhead.
But
Just like,
yeah.
Yeah, Daddy's in the closet again, playing with the thing, trying to find someone. But
That was
I
really
guess
cute when
That's
she
his
said
thing, though. He's trying to find someone.
Yeah.
He's probably trying to find Joe.
Trying to find his way.
Yeah. So Gordon and Donna. What is this show without drama between the two of them?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, there is no show.
I mean, well, the show is incredible, but
Yeah.
I think the two characters that you just can never take your eyes off of are Cameron and Joe. They're
You mean Donna and Joe? Donna and Gordon. Sorry. Yeah.
no, I mean,
Oh, those two.
I
I was
mean
talking
Cameron
about-
and Joe. But
Okay.
I love Donna and Gordon, but it took me at least the full first season to warm up to Donna and Joe, or Donna and Gordon.
Oh, okay.
The husband wife couple.
Yes.
It took me a long time to warm up them because I was just like, oh, they're followers, they're beta personalities. They're just, and then I would see them kind of come into their own. And something that I actually wrote down for this episode for Donna specifically is and I'm not sure if you guys are listening at home, please tweet me if I'm wrong, but is this the first time that we see Donna literally wear the pants in the episode? I don't think I've ever seen her out of a skirt.
I feel like she's worn pants before. I'm not quite certain. I mean,
If so, then they've waited purposely for this episode for her to be wearing the pants to work.
right.
Because we open in season 3, she's in a skirt suit, right?
Yeah,
And Cameron's like failing to dress up. She's like trying
yeah.
to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Has she ever? I mean, clearly she generally wears the pants in their relationship.
More and more, though. But you
Yeah,
have to
more and
remember in
more.
season 1, she was nothing like that. She'd given up her entire life to support
Yeah, that's
Gordon.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. She's come a long way.
2 years ago. Who can remember back that far? Barely remember 2 days ago. I like that she asks him to come into this meeting. We feel like you're really valuable here. And then, of course, Gordon's like, do you want me there? Or you just want me there because I need something to do? Which was like a nice little audience question there. But do you think that she says that she does want him there in the meeting. But then when he gets into the meeting, all he generally does is disrupt the meeting with his feelings because no one's listening to him.
I don't have a lot of patience for Gordon. He's not my favorite character. However, I think that Scoot plays him wonderfully because that character could be the whiniest Ross of the show,
Yeah,
if you would. If
And
you
he could
let
be
him.
completely boring, but I don't think that he is because of the layers that Scoot adds there.
Really good. And I was kind of like, Gordon, dang it, your wife is trying to give you an olive branch here, and you're like, but do you really want me? But that's what happens, right? When you're in a relationship with someone, you try to work with them, you can get petty with them and vent on them when you're in a professional setting or when you're talking about professional things. Those things are going to mix and bleed, and I'm like, see, this is why it's not a good idea. This is why they shouldn't be working together.
Well, yeah, clearly they should not be working together, but I think he asked that question and he's insecure about that, obviously because of the affair that he had.
Yeah.
I mean, granted,
Which comes out later,
Yeah,
right?
which does come out in the meeting, which I'm sure they were all waiting for that, but like, he does say, well, it was only the one time or something like that, which I'm like, it's still cheating, Gordon.
It feels like in this episode specifically, we did talk about our last show that Gordon is consistently trying to redeem himself. But it feels like in this episode, Gordon's getting a little fed up.
Yeah.
And then he's been like, he's now justifying with anger. Do you really want me there? I only slept with her once. Statements like that are defensive, and he's pretty much done.
Yeah,
appeasing
he does.
Donna.
What does he say? There's at some point where he's like, I see it on your face all the time. I'm tired of I've done this. I rebuilt the mainframe. We moved out here. I put my money into the company. No one wants to listen to my opinions, which I was a little fed up with him there because I was like, well, look, they are listening to your opinions, but they're also giving you feedback. Gordon, this is how it works in a meeting.
That's how it works. But I do think, that being said, we see it towards the end of the episode. We see them arguing, right, in the meeting. But the communication's getting slightly better, and I believe that Gordon is actually needed.
Oh yeah.
Even if all he does is really do is play the devil's advocate and the tech guy, that voice is still needed in that group.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can't forget that he is a very brilliant coder. I mean, Joe sought him out in season 1, so he does have a lot to contribute. I think also what was really good is that he seems to see Cameron with a more critical eye than Donna does. Because Donna was like, yeah, she can do this thing and she can, whatever. And then, sorry, I'm not even using real words here, but Cameron's like, oh, okay, I'll code it since they can't find Tom, which, by the way, Tom gets mentioned in the episode. We haven't forgotten about him. He still exists somewhere in our universe.
Oh, we haven't forgotten about Tom.
Yeah, which I was like, I'd kind of like to see that actor back. I thought he was great.
He's great.
But as Gordon's like, well, she never delegates, and she always puts too much on her plate, or, everything's foundational to you. You're not actually going to get this done. We're always waiting around on her. And Boz kind of like goes, yeah, she could probably use some help. Maybe we could get one of those other guys on it. And I thought, like, well, that's a good thing for Gordon. He's actually being useful here. But I was wondering, like, Donna sees this, but she's, afraid to upset Cameron or something?
I think that Donna, what we've seen with Donna is Donna doesn't see the danger first. Mm-hmm. Over and over again from that fateful meeting. They go back to the same fancy restaurant where they've been harassed for the opening of the season, right? She didn't see that coming. She doesn't see a lot of bad in people, and she doesn't see a lot of problems. She's a wonderful nurturer and gatherer in that way. But in terms of, what's the word for it? I want to say almost being distrustful.
Oh, distrustful.
But she doesn't have that. But what about this that Gordon does?
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree.
And that's what makes them a great team.
Yeah, I think it does. I was glad to see Gordon point that out.
Yeah.
And Donna was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, they end the episode with like that big old argument, because it's at that point that was the part that felt like the most like this is like a family. I don't know if it made me think of like some sort of Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, where it's like everybody's together and they're arguing, but that's the way it's supposed to be, or something like that.
That's true, right? They're truly collaborating in that sense of a startup.
And at least that argument didn't end with Gordon running out telling everybody his business, which I guess not everyone necessarily knew. Maybe
they sure didn't, based off of Cameron's face.
Yeah, well,
Cameron's face said, "I did not know that, and I did not need to know that." Gordon, what are you doing? And I was like, how did Cameron not know? But Donna had just simply never confided in her, so she had just let Cameron pick up what she picks up. Like,
sure.
She had never said it.
Totally. It was like, speaking of her and Bosworth, like, where faces were pressed against the glass right at the end as they're having like, oh man, look at him go out there. And then him spilling all their information out. So at least this final argument was more like a sort of like a bickery, we love each other kind of fight. Less like talking about the affairs in public.
When he mentioned the affair in front of the meeting, I was just like, oh crap.
And the way he did it.
I was just
What did he say? He said like, oh, I only slept with her. I don't think he said slept with her. It was like some other, I'm not gonna remember, but it felt kind of vulgar the way he said it, which I thought like, geez, if you did it.
I think he essentially said, Jesus, I only slept with her once, or something like that, but it was harsher.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't say slept with her. Anyway, it was like, it was vulgar, and I just thought like, okay, well.
Which is also not appropriate for a meeting, right? Like, it was all out of anger.
Highly inappropriate. At least the two of them said, okay, we're gonna address it. We can't ignore it. We could ignore it, but we shouldn't, in the interest of us working together.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that she brought him on in such a key role.
Yeah.
Back like that, because to me, he's still on probation with Donna.
Yeah, well, and that's, part of his frustration, trying to find somebody, Yeah. But it's...
somebody to listen to him.
Yeah, but it's justified. Gordon, you did sleep with someone else.
Yeah.
Wait till you find out Donna's secret, though. That'd be a little less...
Yeah.
A little more interesting. We'll see if...
he's going to throw that in her face so hard.
When's he going to find out, though?
Oh, it'll come out.
I think it has to come out, but I'm like, wait... 3 episodes in, and that happened.
Miscarriage.
Yeah, but I feel like he has to find out, and I'm dying to find that out, because like Donna has this over his head, which point. She throws it at him in the meeting. You were off doing other things. That's what he said. He said, I only did it with her once, or I only did her once, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I kind of like that line.
He did get triggered by that line, but like. I couldn't blame her for saying that. My thought was exactly with her, was like, well, guess where you were when important decisions were being made. Like, yeah, that was mean, but like, she's allowed to have that thought.
Absolutely.
She feels betrayed, and like, she
was betrayed.
She tried to like make it nice, but it still stung.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought her delivery was great.
Yeah.
Well, you were off doing other things. I'm like, wow, that's how you see a thought behind that line.
Yep.
Let's talk about Donna and Diane.
Yes.
Love what you said. Just love Diane, which I'd love
Diane Gold.
Yes.
I I was telling Isaac before we started the show that Diane.
I'm Isaac. Oh,
well,
you're
I'm
talking,
telling
okay.
our viewers and listeners that we were speaking briefly before the show that I just am so terrified of Diane Gould's character in the most respectful way. Like I just feel like nothing anyone does is good enough for her. She is sharp, man. And when like she went to lunch.
It was lunch. Yeah.
Lunch with Donna, and Donna drank a little too much and was like, "Oh, we're sending Boz to do it," and she was kind of like, "Mer." You know, like her attention perked up, and I was like, "Oh man, what is she gonna do? Is she gonna go and ruin the meeting? Is she gonna like not do business with them because she doesn't view Donna as being responsible?
Enough,
What?" And then like I come to find out, I guess she just. I don't know why she went. Why do you think she went? Do you think she went to babysit?
To the meeting with Boz?
Yeah. With swap meet.
At swap meet, yeah. I don't know. It was really interesting. I mean, I think that she seems to always be sizing Donna up, right? I mean, even when she gets to the meeting, even the way that she orders her meal. Oh, I'll have the usual. Donna doesn't say risotto, right? Which is rice, but not rice.
It's adorable.
But that was really funny. But like also lets Donna order the drink first, and then she's like, "Yeah, I'm already drinking, by the way. Why do you need to drink at lunch? Or why are you drinking?" Like, because I just like to drink at lunch. I don't know. She's just like a really straightforward person.
She's a really powerful character.
Very powerful. And it almost seemed like when she said, "Oh, you guys are going to go to the meeting with Boz." Oh no, he's our advance man. And it's almost like the word "man" offended her or something like that.
Yeah, I tried to sort that out, right?
Yeah.
Like at first I was kind of like, is this a feminist statement that she's making? Because she did mention what I did appreciate during the lunch, that she was like, "Oh," Donna was like, "Oh, you know, you still wear your wedding ring." And Diane was like, "Yeah, unfortunately, in the workplace of tech, which is now
In 1986, let alone the world of tech, yeah.
Apparently, people cannot handle me being, what is the term she used? Sexually available and also having thoughts in my head at the same time." And I was like, "Oh, that's so true. Like, how many women can relate to that?" But, you know, it was so interesting to see that. What a powerful choice that she made to be like, "Well, then, nope, we're just gonna put a button on it, and I'm not gonna let men in." Like,
right.
There's everything she does is very powerful.
Yes.
But I thought it was a really good little insight to her character.
Yeah, it was great, and it's almost like she's just, you know, like, "I've had to work so hard to get here, Donna, and you're gonna let that man go to the meeting for you instead of you going." Granted, it was supposed to be just dropping off a letter, which John Bosworth had no intention of doing, but it was just, you know, I got the feeling that she sort of sizes her up. Where does her ordering the meal?
I think Boz would have dropped off the letter for her if that's what she had needed.
Sure.
But it turns out she needed more, and I think that he was happy to jump to an opportunity to be needed more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think that he would have been like, "Well, I'm going to take a meeting and sabotage this drop off."
I don't think sabotage would just be it, but I feel like he's always like, "Well, let me look out for these ladies if I can."
I love him.
I do love him. He's really great. Tobias, really killing it again this season. But like, she sizes her up ordering the meal. She sort of sizes her up on her like meal option, the drink. What are you gonna drink? And what exactly do you mean he's your advance man? In also just being, I guess, efficient with the wedding ring. Is like, look, it just puts this thing to bed. But I think that she wants Donna to be the kind of woman that she is. So that's why she's kind of like...
Well, she's never seen it before, right? So she's sizing her up. She's saying, "What is happening here? Are you weak? Are you like me? No, you're neither. You're in between."
Exactly. She probably was excited that 2 women run this company. Okay, this is really interesting. And now they showed them some moxie, and they're going to buy out their competitor.
Yeah.
I like these guys. And wait, what do you mean you're sending a man to this meeting? I don't know.
But I think that Donna did it because she thought, well, we need to keep up appearances. Like, we as the owners can't go. And then I kind of wanted to see what Diane would say about that, because Donna mentioned that to Boz, but I don't think she ever articulated her fears of 2 owners of the company showing up for the first offer to Diane, because I would have been interested to hear what Diane would have said about that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
But she didn't. She just said, "We're not going to." She didn't ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So since we're talking about Boz and Diane, they meet. That was the first time they met, right? They haven't met before.
It was, and it's exciting for me because I thought that Diane was just going to be a guest star, but obviously she's going to have a much bigger character arc, because now she's meeting people like John Bosworth, and so I love them together.
Yeah, I thought they were great. I thought they were generally like step in step when they got into the place. Boz has already been there. He's sitting there. oh, parking lot's kind of empty, not a lot of people around here. And she's like, yeah, she's like, I noticed this. He's like, yep, I got that. I noticed this. Also, I got that.
So sexy. I loved it. They were just like, the phone's ringing. And then he's like, did you want to answer that? And I was like, yes, they know something's wrong, but like, is their brain going to work out fast enough to do something about it? I don't know. Like,
yeah. Well, and she lets him take the lead with ripping up the check there, which was, you know, he kind of looked at her first like, I'm going to do this thing. And she just kind of, okay.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Even when they meet those two guys, they're like, we'd like a tour of the facility. And like, yeah, it seems like a big place. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, we can do that. Is there something else going on with those guys, or are they just generally like they have some cool intellectual property, but why wasn't there a secretary there? It seemed like they were lying about that.
Yeah, so I guess what I was trying to figure out in the episode was it's a ghost town there, right, at swap meet.
I almost thought they were like fake, or like
why?
they paid a bunch of people to sit around or something.
In my mind, I believe that swap meet has a fantastic idea and is being executed so poorly that they're running themselves into the ground and they have to sell, otherwise they're going to go bankrupt.
Okay.
And so they've cut employees like crazy, so much so they're like, oh, we got one offer, we'll take it, fire everyone. Because that's kind of what I gathered.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes plenty of sense.
But it still was a little weird that no one was answering the phone. Like, you couldn't keep one secretary. It was kind of strange.
There was like at least 5 people sitting out there. None of them can
Yeah.
answer the phone. Like,
It's a
hey,
little
could someone
strange.
get that? You know, nothing.
Which to me says, even on top of them being poor or losing business, that their leadership is extremely disorganized.
Yeah, easily.
So maybe that's it's all the wrong things happening at swap meet. So they're
Yeah.
buying a problem child, and that's why Diane even undercutted Boz and was like, I'd say, you know, north of 350. And then he was like, you know what? And they're like, you can't do that. And it was like, oop, the negotiation just turned south.
Loved seeing them work together. I think, and also to John Bosworth's credit as a character, I mean, yeah, he's not a coder. He doesn't understand any of that. They can make all the Star Wars jokes they want with him. He won't even understand those, even though the movies have been out for like ever at that point. But he smells blood in the water the moment he's at that meeting. And as an older businessman,
He is a businessman.
he knows how to cut a deal. And
Yes.
the moment he's there, I think he's already planning on doing that. And then them together in the meeting there just seemed to like corner the both of them.
It was masterful.
It was wonderful. And I think that leads, like what you're saying about them not really having a lot of money, is he saw that you guys aren't actually going to get another offer.
They're not going to get anything,
Yeah, they're not going to get another
especially
offer.
behaving the way they are now, right?
Yeah. Well, and the look on, I forgot the guys' names already, but like the look on their faces when John says 325 is almost like they got like their mom walked in on them in the bathroom doing something. You know what I mean? Like they're just like so ashamed. Like, yeah, I guess we're gonna take that money because we really know they have us over a barrel here.
Yeah. As soon as they said like, oh, 350 is a good or 400 is a good starting point.
Oh no! I think
As soon
that's
as they
the
did,
end, yeah.
as soon as they did kind of this, I was like, oh, they have nothing.
Yeah. What
They
bargain?
have
Yeah.
nothing.
They're like, well, that's a good place to start from. Like it was already at like what 600,000 or something like that.
I'm actually at first I was surprised they didn't go lower, but then I thought, you know what would be the worst is if they were like they were offended, right? Their egos were offended.
Right.
These boys' egos were offended if they said, well, we'll give you $100,000 for it. They'd be like, screw you guys, and they'd still have the intellectual property, and then everyone would kind of be in trouble. So
Yeah.
they skirted that line beautifully.
Yeah. Well, and Diane addresses that with Bosworth. She's like, well, it could have gone south.
She is so sharp. She's always concerned. Like even like when somebody does something good, she's like, but don't celebrate yet.
Yeah. She's like, oh, it's a dangerous game you played there.
Yeah.
Could have not worked out. And he's like, yeah, but it did.
She feels like the antithesis to me of Cameron. Where
yeah.
Cameron is sort of this brilliant, brash rebel. Diane is like, everyone wait. I don't think that's a good idea.
Right.
And here's 18 reasons why.
Yeah.
And she's right. Whereas Cameron's sort of this like artsy genius that is just like, just runs into things and makes things happen. They're just so opposite. I hope they get to work more together.
I mean, Cameron, like in this episode, she's like, I'll take everything. And Diane's like, let's measure these things out. Love that insight. Really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ryan, now working for Joe. Was that a Halloween party, by the way, that he showed up at?
That was a Halloween
I was
party.
like, is it just the 80s or is that a Halloween party? I couldn't tell.
It's a Halloween party.
Yeah.
There was some lady, some extra that was laying on the couch that had like Elvira makeup on with like a Beetlejuice wig or something.
I mean,
I think they took an extra point to show that it was like a dress up.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like I'm like, well, I've been to a couple parties like out in LA like that where it's like dressed like the 80s. I'm like, well, like could have just been
been them. Could have just been a party, I guess.
But then there was the lady with serving the things and like I guess
she was like in a leotard or something. Yeah.
So I thought like maybe it's a Halloween party. I don't know. It's
I think it's a Halloween party. I also didn't realize that. It's kind of weird because for me, nothing else in the episode said fall. So nothing else really had me grounded in the time of the year. But they did that. Okay, great. So I was like, are we in the office? But we're actually in Joe's skyrise apartment. Yeah,
that is still, I guess, apparently Ryan says it looks very Asian, which I think he meant like, there's like really not much here. So I don't know what to call it.
I think that's what he meant as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to call it something that I guess I'm assuming is minimal. Ryan's completely out of his own universe. I mean, clearly he's in kind of at least Joe's pretend universe, because that's not who Joe is. I think he has that place, like in this first season, he had a big fancy place, but like, he doesn't know what he wants in there. He'd be fine with like one room, I'm sure.
He strikes me as somebody who doesn't need fancy things. Like he doesn't need comforts. In fact, he thrives when he's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's interesting to see him when he does have money, because it's so arbitrary to him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, sure. Yeah, I know about art and design. Don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that he's ignorant of it. He knows about it.
Yeah. When he's like, so he's like Diane kind of measures everyone out. He's continually measuring Ryan out here to see him in his element. You know, like even when they're talking at the party, he's like, oh, I can't wait to see what you have for me. He's like, you came to me.
Yeah.
I want to see what you're bringing to the table.
Yep. I love that we get to see Ryan working at MacMillan. Is that right? MacMillan?
Yeah, I mean, that's Joe's name.
I believe it's the name of the company is MacMillan now. MacMillan Institute or MacMillan something. Cubicles.
Oh.
We have cubicles, right? Like it took me a minute, and then I was like, whoa, there's a lot of cubicles, because now, in 2016, the way to be a cool startup is like Google to have this sort of like farm to table open, source like these, and foosball tables, and like what Mutiny is now is what like all these fancy companies now, like Snapchat was like a house on the beach, and like it's so weird to see like a tech company be like cubicles.
Yeah, I totally didn't think about that, but yeah, it's usually like some sort of like shared workspace, and there's like Star Wars crap on the wall or something like that.
Yeah, it was nothing like that.
Yeah, and it was totally just like a very business type of place. I mean, even that meeting was like a board meeting. I mean, I imagine Google has board meetings, but maybe not like that.
Yeah.
Not with that like hot dog and a stick on there or something,
It was the very classic sense of like a work cubicle and all that. And they had a beautiful view of San Francisco Bay, which was really cool. I wonder if they filmed that in San Francisco.
I imagine they got to. They have to, because episode 2, when he tracks down Joe with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background.
So maybe they do a few things on location there.
At the very least.
I know the majority of the show is filmed in Atlanta, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So they did a great job on this particular episode. I was like, wow, it's so pretty. And I was like, I'm probably looking at a picture or a painting.
It could be. I mean, I guess that bridge could have been like CGI or something. But it seems like that's a lot of money to spend. Why don't you just go there for the day and shoot that scene?
Why not, right? Yeah. Oh my goodness, when Joe is looking at Ryan during the meeting about the $14.95, charging their users, he promised that they would always be free. I love watching Joe all the time, but watching Joe watch Ryan is like, it kind of reminded me of like Scar from The Lion King, gazing at Simba.
Totally, yeah.
Like, right? And he's like, fresh meat.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do, child? Like, come closer. And Ryan's just like,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so, I mean, in a larger picture, I think he's looking for like another version of Gordon or something like that, because Gordon really inspired him. They did great things together. And they challenged each other. And Ryan's a guy who just sits there in the meeting and kind of says what he thinks he's supposed to say.
Well, but Ryan had a good point, right? He's like, you got hired 3 weeks ago. He's like, what do you want me to do? This is you just told me to come into a senior board meeting. All I did was agree with everything. And I agree with him. Like, if you're new at a place, you kind of
I think it's only been a week
permission.
At this point, yeah.
It is, it's still very fresh. And he defends himself, and he's like, hey, I didn't know. And just the expression on Joe's face is like,
Yeah, he's so disappointed.
he's just so like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
I thought you were a lion, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's like looking for one of those words
Exactly.
like him. And,
Yeah.
and Ryan's not that person.
No, well, and I mean, like, so Gordon.
At least not yet.
Yeah, not yet. But like Gordon's looking for someone, anyone, and Joe's here looking for. It seems like another version of Gordon. And I think he's like, he sees like
Cameron.
the writing on the wall, or Cameron. That this guy isn't any of those guys. He won't even speak his mind in the meeting. I inspired him, and now he's just sitting here taking lumps. The way that he was looking at him was like, I thought you were gonna be cool, man. You're just sitting here, really. What do
thought
you think?
He's so fiery when he's alone with Joe, right? And when he's
yeah.
around other people, he can't hang yet. But Joe needs to. I mean, it's the same problem at every job ever, right? If you don't train your employees, they probably are not gonna do well. With the one exception of Joe, who like requires no training. He's just like a beast.
Yeah.
But he's also older than Ryan
Oh yeah.
and more socially like adept than Ryan by like a lot. I remember when we saw Ryan at the Halloween party,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Okay, gotta take this, gotta go." And it's just like
Yeah.
it's just like on Silicon Valley, right, where you see all these really brilliant geniuses who can't interact socially
Yeah, like they
very
can't
well.
talk to a girl or anything.
Yeah. What is that?
I mean, it's just. I guess that's just who Ryan really is. You mentioned. There's something really brilliant you mentioned, just about him. Gosh, him and Ryan. I don't remember. Man, I hate when that happens. There was something that Joe said at the board meeting when they're. People are going to hate you when they find out you're really charging for this. It's like, I stopped caring what people think a long time ago, and I don't think that's actually true. I
don't think that's true for a second.
Yeah, I think he does care what people think.
I think he was sacrificing this product or that meeting so that Ryan could stand up, and Ryan failed the test. It was very clear when he said $14.95 that was the moment when Ryan failed to speak up.
I think that was like the last, like, are you going to say anything? Are you going to do anything? Okay, everybody agrees here. I guess that's it.
Joe likes to let people fall on their face themselves. Like, he likes to teach people by being like, okay, you want to do it without me? Great.
Yeah.
Do it without me. And then he's very spiteful in that way, and he loves to show people like, you were wrong. Let me show you all the 14 different ways that you were wrong.
Yeah, totally.
That's
what I was going to say about Ryan. Is just that, I think Joe thought he was going to possibly find some sort of equal, or somebody to like, bounce ideas off of or something like that, kind of like he did with Gordon. But Ryan is really Ryan looks up to him. So Ryan's looking for guidance from him, and Joe was disappointed that that's the case. Until they get to the point where Ryan does come and speak his mind to him in private again. And, he's like, well, look, we can't charge for the 2.0 thing. We have to find some other revenue stream. And then I think Joe's like, okay, I think we can play. But that's only after that Cameron tells him how brilliant he is, because I think he'd already written him off by that point.
I think of Ryan and Joe in terms of like, if they were chess pieces, Joe would be the king, right? And he's looking for his queen, someone who can move any which way diagonally, forward, backwards. Ryan's not a queen. Ryan is maybe a rook.
Sure.
Someone who can go one way very well and do that better than anyone else, or a bishop, go this way.
Yeah.
He can't do any which way. Or maybe
I'm going to agree
he's
with you on
growing
all
up.
these things. I don't know anything about chess.
Oh, you don't know anything about chess? Okay, maybe that's a bad metaphor. But,
I know chess is like a very complicated game with a lot of strategy.
so yeah, all the different pieces have different functions, and the queen is the only one who can do all of them.
Cool. What can the king do? Nothing.
He's to be protected.
He's to be protected.
Yeah. So the
then that's the best analogy you could have used.
okay. All right.
Wish I'd been on board with that from
Okay,
the
great.
beginning.
We'll pretend.
Yeah. It's anything like checkers. There's a board, right?
Yeah.
That's really great. Was there something else about Joe and Ryan?
Any other thoughts about Joe and Ryan?
I thought I had one more, but maybe I didn't write it down. Who knows?
I'm excited to see where they're gonna go.
Totally excited. I think that's them sort of working together. Oh, he says, we might fail, which I think is, like you said, is exciting to Joe.
Oh yeah. So at the end, he says, "Pack up your things."
Yeah.
And you see Ryan just hold his breath, like, "Oh no, I'm getting fired."
You're right.
And I was like, no, Joe's gonna mess with him a little bit longer. He's gonna dangle something in front of Ryan's face a little bit longer because he likes to toy with people. likes to keep people in his pocket.
Yeah.
So he goes, pack up. We're going to work out of my home from now on. We need to find another source of revenue. He's like, I'm going to use that brilliant brain of yours if I have to kill you to get it.
Yeah, exactly. And who tells him about the brilliant brain? It's Cameron.
Yep.
So good to see them back together.
Oh. Maybe Cameron shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, she tried to go get him back, and she's like, well, he's not coming back. It's like, no, he's actually a really smart guy. He's like maybe one of the smartest guys out here.
Yep.
So Joe's like, oh, well, maybe I should keep him around.
Maybe, did he already know that though?
I mean, I think he had the idea that he was, but clearly he's like so smart he can't actually function or form his own independent thoughts. He just wants to code, because he even asked him what he liked to do. And he's like, well, really just coding.
Yeah, he's like, movies, video games, but really what I like to do is code.
Yeah, and he's like, cool, that's like the most boring answer you could give me. Thank you. I've made a mistake.
You're going to make a lot of money one day doing work. And just work.
Exactly. So Cameron and Joe finally back together again on screen. Lovely to see. They did not kiss this time. I loved seeing her just stare at him and then walk away, because how many times has she not walked away the moment she's seen him?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, so he's wearing like a hat and he's got the beard, but he's on like the cover of Forbes. No one else recognizes this guy walking around.
Good point.
School.
So we do see him at the San Francisco City College.
Yeah, well, he's going. I think he's actually a student there.
I was like, what is he doing there?
He looked really at home.
Is he
while he was on the computer there?
Researching things? Is he actually taking classes? Is he bettering himself so that the coders don't one up him again? What is he doing?
I mean, he says something about like, I've been tired of being touted as like a salesman who doesn't understand this or doesn't know how to code or something like that. So I think he really does want to understand it and really actually make something. I mean, he's a great guy with ideas. He's great at motivating people in negative and positive ways. But when you see him there at the college on the computer by himself, like writing code and reading books, there's no one else in the room.
Interesting.
So I think that, and it seemed like he felt really at peace there. I mean, he didn't really seem at peace in the boardroom. He seemed like he's just, well, I'm supposed to be here and do this thing, but...
Well, he's got a lot of free time.
Yeah.
A lot of free time.
But I think he is a student.
A lot of free time.
Yeah. Well, and also he sees Cameron there. He's not following her around. He sees her, and then as she's there to give her a lecture, which was nice. She was at a lecture in episode 1 of season 1. Now she's giving a lecture.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if he's taking a coding class and then requested Cameron to come and speak. Remember, because
really interesting.
Donna says, well, you should feel honored because these really smart
requested
coders
you by name.
Requested you by name.
Could be.
That's so something Joe would do.
It is something he would do.
But is he in that class? I just don't know.
I don't know. I mean, he wasn't in the actual thing, and he saw her before they started. And he did look kind of surprised to see her, like, oh, it's her,
Okay.
But it could be something he would do. It would be interesting to find out if that was the case or not. Gosh, I love their conversation. Just him, saying to her, I can be taught. And her not, just like, I'm not buying any of this. What is this costume you're wearing? And he's like, it's not a costume. I'm a real student. Here's my books. I'm going to show you. And he's just reaching out.
The whole time I was just like, I don't know about you. I don't know.
Yeah, that's him, though. Like, you feel like you can never trust him. But
you can't.
But that moment when he says, like, I'm a student. I am teachable. I thought that was him just saying, like, please take my hand. Put me back in the family. Every family. I mean, they have the family argument at the end. Every family has a black sheep that they're not talking about. Right?
Yep.
And this guy is out there, and I think that he wants back in the family.
Yeah, I definitely think that he badly wants to get back in the family, whether he has to force it or whether he can maneuver it himself. And I think he always, poor guy, kind of always has to force it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Finally we see Cameron in a position of power, and she's doing okay with it. She's not doing great. She's doing okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Joe is the leader, though.
Yeah. I thought there was just also a sweetness about that conversation. I thought that was...
They're always sweet together.
Yeah.
They're the same. Do you know, when you just see two characters that are of equal, I don't want to say value.
Sure. Value sounds good to me.
They just click.
Yeah, they get each other. They're
two beasts of the same kind, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
cut from the same cloth or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Well, because we talked about last episode, some of the ways that she sort of has treated other people is kind of like things that Joe would do. And Joe, which I did say that he was, sort of fully accepting himself as like the villain this season, but it does seem like he, believes specifically in this, giving this stuff away for free, but he realizes he can't do that because of the position he's in. I don't know. It's really interesting.
I think that Joe did not want to charge for the antivirus
Yeah, I
software.
think so. I think he meant that when he said it. Yeah.
But I think that he was willing to sacrifice that product and his image for Ryan to do what he wants Ryan to do, which is to step up to the plate, which I thought was a very big picture move of him.
Right.
Just like he threatens Gordon with 70% of his company on camera. He'll do things like that where he's like, okay, I'll give away everything I have. You gonna man? No, you're not gonna man up. Okay,
sure. Yeah.
He's done that before, and so I think that he will trash his entire reputation so that Ryan can learn a lesson. He's that crazy.
Totally. Well, and also just to maybe even just find the next thing. I mean, he's not interested in antivirus.
True. He did say that he wasn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about antivirus. He doesn't
boring
care.
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just wants to find the next thing.
What's he
like
gonna do?
even when Ryan challenges him, he's like, "I am the product."
Yeah.
Like Ryan's like, "Yeah, you are." Just another Steve Jobs parallel there. Oh man, so good. And then by the end of the episode with burning down the house, when him and Ryan are going to work together, I thought that
So
was
good.
cool, and maybe some sort of what's the word, foreshadow as into what's going to happen. I mean, he's torpedoed companies before just because he's like, look, I'm on to the next thing. Don't care about these guys.
He's, brought himself back up from the bottom before, that's for sure. And I love it when shows specifically use really good songs to foreshadow a little bit of action with characters. And so when we see them exiting together, packing up their stuff away from the cubicles, away from the corporate meetings where Ryan apparently cannot thrive, right?
Not a little bit.
We're going back into the basement, back into the closet, back into the man cave where Joe needs to find his next Gordon, if you will.
Yeah, just like him and Gordon.
And we have that music burning down the house, and it was just so cool. I was just watching it, and I was like,
yeah,
they're gonna do something.
Yeah, I was like, of course they chose that song. It was perfect. Let's get into some news and gossip. I have one piece of news.
Okay.
Really quick. There it is. It's actually like news that is not news, which is interesting that it was reported on. So there's been rumors for a long time that Mackenzie Davis, who plays Cameron, was going to be in the Deadpool sequel, playing the character of Domino, and that's been kind of like rumored for a long time. And she was in an interview, I think this week or last week, when she said no, that's not happening.
She said no.
She said it's not happening. She said that's a lovely rumor and it sounds really great, but it's not true.
Oh, I'm heartbroken.
Oh, yeah.
She would make a wonderful Domino.
I think she would be great in anything.
She would be great in anything.
Finally watched The Martian this week, and I was like, "Hey, Cameron, there she is."
Oh, I haven't seen it.
She's in the movie.
Oh, okay.
It's very good.
She'll be great.
But yeah, I mean, but maybe this is one of those things where it's like these rumors aren't true, and then it leads casting to go, well, I don't know, maybe we should look at her. She's pretty good.
Yeah, if her publicist made that up, kudos.
Yeah,
to her
I think it's like a
publicist.
fan thing. There's like been fan art made of her like looking like Domino, and she's like, "That's great, guys."
Oh, she looks great.
No one's approached me. I haven't auditioned for it.
Well, are they making a second Deadpool? Is that confirmed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
It's gotta be.
I just knew it was very difficult to make the first one, so I'm
Yeah,
like, maybe that's why they're like cooling the jets on the sequel.
I
because
mean,
it
the first one was made
difficult
for
to
like
get done.
30 million or something like that, and
Yeah.
they made like 700 and almost 800 million dollars.
I mean, you'd think,
sequel coming, I think.
but
Yeah.
I just didn't know. So, what a bummer.
Yeah, what a bummer. Anyway.
I bet Mackenzie's working on something else than if she said no to that.
Yeah, well, I don't think they even
she
approached
didn't say
her.
no.
I don't
She
think
just
she
said
said
they
no. I think it just never actually came up. She's like, it's just a fan rumor and it's great, but I mean, any actor looking for a job, she's probably like, sure, send it my way.
Great.
Let's get into those predictions.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What you got?
So I really, my eye is really on Ryan right now. Although I wasn't really encouraged to see Diane meet up with Bosworth. I was like, ooh, maybe there's going to be a partnership there. I still don't trust Diane with Donna. And I think if anybody's going to betray anyone, I think Diane will be betraying Donna. That is my prediction. I also predict that Joe wants Ryan to break new ground, just like Joe did. And so I think Joe is really not going to let Ryan go. And I think that he is going to use Ryan to bring Cameron back to him somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah.
But that's my prediction.
I'll agree that I feel like Ryan's going to be used to get them all back together. Yeah, it would be lovely to see. I think that there was also like in the next week's episode kind of little thing. It looked like there was gonna be an epic game, a laser tag. Really excited about that with Bodie there. By the way, Bodie is Joshua Hoover, who's been on the show before.
Oh, cool.
And Boz and Diane. There was a way that the two of them looked at each other, especially after she said, "Oh, almost didn't work out." And it was like, "But it did." There was just some sort of almost like a little spark between them. So I think that they will have a partnership.
Oh.
It'll be another kind of partnership.
It'll be a different kind of partnership.
If you know what I mean.
I'm there for that. I'm clocked in for that. I would have that all day long.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. And they feel kind of like equals in a large way.
Very much so.
So I think that would make a lot of sense and be really exciting to see on the show.
Although I don't think she'll be attracted to somebody that has that much baggage. She seems to me that she's very happy, independent. I don't think that she would be attracted to somebody with like those family problems and stuff that he kind of was dealing with.
Maybe, but she was married before. She has the wedding ring. She's got
Yeah.
her own baggage that we'll possibly find out about.
I don't know. I don't think she's looking.
I don't think she's looking either, but that's when you usually find it.
But
When you stop looking.
I'd love that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it where they feel like the kind of couple that would like have like an argument and then like,
Okay, we're officially shipping Boz and Diane.
I think so. I'm doing it. Amber Plaster, where can people find you online?
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. You can tweet me during the episode at Amber Plaster.
Yeah, and you can tweet me at Isaac Johnson also during the episode if you like, or follow me on Instagram. It's the Isaac Johnson.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.